what impact does successful businesses have on a country? Okay, can somebody explain me the process? I'll give them a chocolate. What impact does a successful business have on a country? Say, I'll give you a use case. If there is no Tata, Birla, or Reliance Foundation in this country, or Bajaj Motors, then what will happen? No revenue. Yeah. Oh, sorry. No jobs. Yeah, kind of. Usko dekh. GDP goes down. Yes. Cash flow. Right. Yeah, these all things are connected because those are the things. Oh, sorry. 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 So, yeah, successful businesses, they help the GDP to grow, which in turn makes this thing. Money flows across the ecosystem from large scale businesses to small scale businesses. The customers they provide services to. The money flows across this entire ecosystem. The standard of living of people increases. Basic problems gets eradicated like food, infrastructure, or better health facilities. All these problems, those are basic issues, but these are still major issues in our country. There are some issues in US and Europe as well, like these basic issues, but they are not that strong. But they are very strong here. There are still many children die because of basic diseases like fever and cold. Okay, so after that happens, after the standard of living increases, per capita income also increases, which in turn is the sign of more prosperity. And this cycle continues. This entire cycle continues. And this thing, the businesses, they act like food for this whole cycle. Say, I'll give you an example. If you go to a beggar, a sick beggar, and start teaching him about data science for healthcare, will that help? Because healthcare, it's a health-based solution, right? Because it will help surely him or some other person. It will help, but it's not the right time. He's hungry. Okay, so he's hungry. He needs food. Then after his stomach is full, then he'll think about other things, right? So पहले पेट भरना चाहिए, बाद में बाकी. ठीक है? Okay. So another question. So have you guys heard about AI? Let me rephrase that. How many of you here not heard about the AI or the term? I'm not asking about the definition, the hype AI. All of you. Okay. So did you guys ever think that, like, how many among you know the creator of this awesome watch? This is a watch, Fastlack, but there is a person who designs this sports watches. How many of you know that guy's name? Do you know? So did you ever try to think that you know AI, right? Because AI is type, but you don't know this guy. Is there a reason behind this? There comes the first principle of startups, letting people know. Okay, so this is the first principle of startup. If you make something, you have to let people know that I've made this, a product or service. It makes your life easier. Do you want to buy it? That's the first principle. So I'll come back to this slide later when I explain the startup ecosystem and all, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so the thing is, AI has already entered our lives in various forms. Say, if you use iPhone or Android, you must have used Google now or Siri, right? So Apple uses it for speech recognition in Siri. Google also uses it. Airbnb uses it to connect good people with another set of good people to live with. Netflix uses it for content recommendation, episodes. They recommend you episodes, movies, and other stuff. This is another stuff. I'll talk about it later. Facebook uses it for automatic tagging. So have you noticed this phenomenon? Before few years, we have to tag each of our friends manually. Say if you have a photo of your friends, so you have to manually tag each and every person. But I think since last year or last to last year, this tagging has been done automatically. Most of the tagging has been done automatically. So have you noticed it? Okay. So that's nothing but the image recognition, AI. Again, Google Maps uses it. LinkedIn uses it to connect employers to employees with by properly connecting the parameters, all the skill parameters and other things. So a lot of people, a lot of companies use AI already. This is an example from an app named Prisma, if you have used it. It's the image editing app. So it works on generative adversarial networks, nothing but GANs. So you this is it takes two inputs. This is a raw image. This is an input image. This is another input image. This is nothing but an art. So it blends this image with this art and creates something like this. Isn't it awesome? So all of the Instagram filters are like worthless against this art, right? So that's the power of AI. Have you guys heard about this? Okay, so they were like a secret agency. Uh, People also like that they helped Congress to win the previous elections and also Trump. Okay, so they manipulated people's sentiments through the content they produced on social media and on other platforms. So that's the power of AI. So can you tell me who's the strongest person on earth? Like who holds the most of the rights to manipulate things politically, geographically? President of US, right? So Elon Musk not right now. So so if something is helping you to get elected as a president of US, isn't that powerful? Okay, let's move on. So we'll look over some interesting B2C startups. These are Indian startups. So I've sorted out this for you. Okay, this is a startup named Nikki.ai. So what it does is it works on NLP. NLP is natural language processing. I'll try to keep this talk as simple as possible. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in between or after this session. Okay, so say here is one example. Can you guys see it? It's book me a cab. Book me some word is there. Book me a cab. Cheapest. Okay, book me a cheapest cab. Okay, so this is a bot called Nikki. So she says, let me book a cab for you. I've picked up your location, and she does rest of the things automatically. This is a very task specific example, but Nikki.ai works on a different set of tasks. Say picking up your laundries, booking a cab, booking your flight tickets, booking your movie tickets, and any task based applications. So this is they have a very powerful API for the same thing. This is Woo.ai. It's a fashion-based startup. It's a Chennai-based startup. So all of these startups have a lot of millions of dollars of funding. So what this does is, say if you post a picture on Instagram or Facebook, it synthesizes what you wear. So this checks shirt. Okay, so the AI just synthesizes all these images and finds online where a user can get these kind of shirts or inners or pants or leggings or anything. So it synthesizes each and every image in like to the minute details, and it gives the links from Amazon, Flipkart, or any other Myntra or any other e-commerce platforms to buy them. You can note down these startups if you want. This is a startup, a TV, a remote control based startup. So what it does is they provide a hardware which is nothing but a remote, and which works with the TV, and which is inherently blended for Android as well as the broadcasting TV. The TV we use at our home is nothing but a broadcasting TV. Like the channels are broadcasted to our TV and then we watch them. There are smart TVs, Android smart TVs. Okay, so this is a blend, and that hardware device works like Amazon Alexa. You tell that device something, say, show me a channel where Trump or where Modi is giving a speech in, say, in Islamabad. So you just supply a query to that device, and that device switch to that particular channel. So this is a very simple query, but it works on many complex queries. You have a doubt? Okay. This is a startup by IISc alumnus. So IISc, we don't usually start another food startup like Swiggy or Food Panda because we don't believe in that stuff. I'll show you another awesome startup by an IISc alumnus itself. There are some B2B AI start. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you what B2B and B2C is. You know? Okay. So B2C is nothing but business to customer. So they provide a service or a product directly to the customer. So that's what B2C is. And B2B is they provide a service or product to another business, which indirectly serves the end users. Okay, so these companies kind of indirectly serving to the end users. So there are some B2B startups. This is a startup. It's an Indian startup, Zen Drive. They also have a headquarter in US. They have a lots and lots of fundings. Last year, I think they appeared in Fast Company's most innovative companies. Oh, this year itself. So what it does is, uh, they use a lot of sensors which are already inbuilt in your smartphone. They keep it in front of the driver who's driving the car, and they monitor the driver's activity. Say a driver, when the driver is looking at the road, he's fine. He'll get plus points. So whenever the driver's attention is deflected, so say if some WhatsApp message comes and he like looks some other side than the road, then his points get decreased. Okay, so there are many parameters like that, and the ZenDrive scores all of the drivers' behaviors into a score which is given out of 100. So this particular driver has a score of 91. So this works like that. Plus, it also after this processing is done, they also analyze this data with the number of accidents that happened with those drivers or those cars. So they'll ultimately they're trying to reduce the they're increasing the road safety. They're trying to save lives with respect to all these things. This is another startup called Age Networks. They work in HR, human resources. They also match the proper candidates, the people who have skills, with the companies. So I think last year their CEO was nominated among top 20 CEOs, startup CEOs of India. They usually come for internship here. I see. Zentrive also comes here for placements. This is not an Indian startup, but just to give you an example, this startup called Lemonade, it works in the insurance space. So many times what happens is we are people, we like to fool others, right? So if say my vehicle is not broken, but I've already issued an insurance over it and it had a very minor accident. But what will I do? If I have a 5 lakh insurance for my vehicle, I'll manually break my car or I'll do something like that sort. But these people, what they do is they make all this analysis and synthesize all that data, all the images, previous like when you were issuing the car, after the accident, and all this stuff, and they analyze exactly uh, how this like whether to issue the insurance to this particular guy or not, whether he's a fraud or not. It's nothing but a fraud detection as well. Okay, so let me move on. So this thing talk about the academia and corporate, how basic ideas and things get incorporated in academics first, and they go to the real world. Okay, so can you tell me when was the first when did you exactly hear about the first AI application in the real world, or when did you exactly use your first application, first AI based application? The year. When did people start using AI applications? Smartphones came much later, right? Smartphones came around 2006, 2007. Okay, so after that era, we started using AI and AI extensively. So the place you're sitting right now, the department you're sitting right now, started working on machine learning and intelligence systems 40 years back. So machine learning started in IISc. This is one of the premier institute. It started in this department in 70s. The research started. There are a lot of basic algorithms. People like Chiranjeev Bhattacharya sir, Shalabh sir, they were working here on those stuff. And there were many professors which are gone now. Okay, so it goes like something like this. So some idea or some new fields they emerge in the academia. After that, some people from industry they see a potential in that idea and they try to solve some real world problem with help of that idea or that new field. AI also started like that, and they solve a problem. There must be some problems even after implementing that technology. There must be some deficiencies. So there are some inefficiencies even after applying those technologies to the real world, and then it comes back. So this is the cycle. That's how academia and corporate works. The usual gap between these two is reducing now. Before the AI era, it was around say 20 years, but now it's reducing. Uh, so if you see some inefficiency in those solutions, you can directly go to businesses as well, because the people who study here, say do PhD here or masters here or in any academia or any academic institution, they go to industry, they write their research papers from the industry as well. So these problems can come back to businesses or can come back to academia, and this cycle goes on. So Okay, I'll give you one another example. Very awesome startup from IISc again. It's a space technology startup. Do you guys know that there is a space technology startup in India? There are two main startups. Two. Uh, can you tell me the name of the most successful space technology startup in the world? SpaceX, right? Okay, how many guys know a space technology startup from India? Team Indus. Another startup. Okay, that's the point I wanted to make. Many of us they search about US based startups, US based companies, but nobody cares to look in this domain. So try searching on Google what are space technology startups in India, how much funding they get, how they like what services they offer, what products they offer, and all. Okay, because we are the people who say India doesn't work that hard, or the people in India doesn't work, they don't work that hard, and then we shift to US for our masters or PhD. Okay. uh, okay, there is this startup. They're trying to deliver internet directly from the space. So they work on microsatellites. So the basic core components, they include microsatellites. Now theory of microsatellites has a long history. But people, and then came the internet in the 90s. Then people immediately saw the applications of internet in the real world. They started building websites. Amazon did, Google did in 90s itself. But internet spread after that. Around 2010, most of the area was covered, but still it is very costly to deliver internet to a lot of remote areas in the world. And the cost to deliver internet through optical fibers and all, it is also very huge. So that's why again the problem came. That is nothing but this deficiency. Okay, so the problem came back. Okay, now few guys have combined the theory of microsatellites to this internet, and they're trying to provide the internet in all the remote areas with the help of circulating microsatellites. The satellites are orbiting the Earth. Okay, so these are all the applications this particular startup can cover by 2020. So you can just have a look. It goes from connected cars to smart factories to remote monitoring to video monitoring, terrorist detection, and everything. Uh, this is this is also built by an IISc alumnus. You can meet this guy. He sits right there in the entrepreneurship cell. Just it's beside the management studies department. His name is Prasad Bhatt. Okay, let's move on. This is a typical life cycle overview for a startup. Oh, I missed this. Okay, so you have to start from the very basic thing. So you have to ask a question. Is there any problem around me? Is there any problem in my society? Or is there something which I can offer in much better way? Okay, so that's the first. This is just an overview. I'll talk this in detail later. Then you have to validate that idea. Okay, so say I'm convinced about my idea. Now I have to convince other people also. So because they are the end people who are buying your product, right? Just say yes or no. It gives me inspiration to talk more if you want me to talk. Okay, then you build that product, you build a prototype, and a continuous feedback from your in-house people or the first 100 customers, say. And then you launch in a beta stage. Then if you then you see whether it's actually working or not. If it is not working, then you again go back to your validation, change some point, iterate it, and then again you launch. And then if everything works right, if the cash flows in, then you launch the product, and then you market it. So the remember the second slide I showed you? This is that. Let them know. And then you scale and sell, and it repeats. Sorry? Okay. You have to be smart in all these processes. Okay. I'll tell you what exactly does that mean, being smart. But yeah, you have to be smart. Uh, let's have a closer look. So it is very hard to start an AI startup nowadays, but it's only when you are trying to address this sector horizontally. Say Siri is already there, Google now is already there, Cortana is there. So if you are trying to build some another speech recognition software or another chatbot or another say another Siri, so it won't work because Apple has already built it, and you don't have access to the resources which Apple has, right? They have a lot of resources, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of money. You don't have, unless you are a son or daughter of Ambani. Okay, so the sector which you can address is this, the vertical AI. These are niche businesses which you can address. Say one example I've told you about was Edge Networks, which works in HR, so human resources. You take some skill sets of some people and connect them to the companies. So this is a very niche field. These people, Google and Apple, they don't have time to work in these niche areas. So you can tap those areas, and there also you can earn a lot of money. Okay, so if you ever want to start a startup in AI field, so you should try and search and look out for these vertical AI niches. Okay, so I'll walk you through one study, OLLO networks, which is I'm trying to build. So I think all these points will be more clear. All these points will be more clear with the help of use case. So let's study that, and then I'll end this presentation. Okay. So our first step was finding a problem or a better way for an existing service. So a few months back, I found this problem. Uh, Say many companies launch something new every day, right? Samsung launched Galaxy 9 and Galaxy 8 Plus few months back, right? So every company needs to market their product, right? But there are no efficient market tools. There are already market tools, but they are not that efficient. Say if I spend 1,000 rupees on a particular customer, they're not generating enough ROIs. ROIs is return on investment. So there are inefficient market tools. So I'd like to address this problem. Okay, so that's my problem, and now I'm convinced that okay, it's a problem, and I should have a better solution for this. Okay, so my solution is going through influencers. Now, influencers are the people which you follow on social media, say on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, or any Instagram or any other social media platform. Be that an actor, be that some small scale businessman, be that some TV host or TV anchor. These all people are influencers. Say you guys know about TVF and AIB and all other channels, right? So those people are also influencers because you watch their content. So my solution was to go through these influencers in a systematic way. Okay, so now I'm convinced about my solution. I have to validate my idea. So how many of you think that it's a great idea? Not a great idea, but it will work. So the thing is, human to human marketing works the best. Okay, so if you just print out some posters and stick it on the walls and people read it and they won't buy your product, so it won't help that much, right? But if your friends tell you, or if the person you follow, your dad or the actors you follow, if they tell you that this particular product works or this particular service works, then there is a probability that you will buy that product or service, right? So now you guys believe me. So just give me a raise of hands if you guys believe that this will work. Okay, 30% people. So this is the thing which is market validation. So I'm just trying to take some opinions from you guys, from other guys. So this is the market validation you guys should do. Okay, so the third step is defining customers. So you exactly have to mention whether your startup is a B2C or B2B startup. You have to also define some parameters, whether if it's a B2C startup, so if I'm directly giving something to end user, to the users like us, then how much does these parameters matter? Age, gender, income, how much these parameters matter? So these parameters will help me define exactly what my customer base is. Or if my startup is a B2B startup, so does having a large set of employees in a company, having that will help me, or a small scale companies will help me. I have to find that out. Okay, it also helps you design your cost structure, revenue model. So those are just jargons. It's nothing but the profit. It helps you find out your profits, what your profits will be. Just remember this. This is what. Just remember this W. I'll tell you what that is afterwards. Okay. So the next step comes, build a prototype. So you have to build a prototype, the tech around this service. So I've told you guys about a solution, the influencer based marketing solution. So now I have to build a data science or AI based solution for that problem. So what I'll do, I'll need a huge data set first of all. So I can crawl Facebook, I can crawl Twitter, I can crawl every social media and take my data. There are also some public data sets available by Facebook and Twitter. I can take that data. I can find out what are the influencers, what all customers, what all users follow them and all. So those are that's my data set. Having a good data set, it's still a problem, but yeah, the more and more users you get for your service, it helps you build your data sets gradually. Okay, so then you have to choose the algorithm. So the kind of problem you are trying to solve, you have to choose an algorithm which is suiting the most for that particular problem. So there are many approaches in machine learning and data science. Deep learning is one of the approach. In deep learning, there are many approaches. In data science, sorry, in machine learning, you can use SVMs and any other. There are multiple algorithms available, and then you have to determine what is the cost to build and deploy that particular prototype. Okay, so while building a prototype for our use case called OLLO networks, the influencer solution, I have to remember these points because my clients will be businesses which will serve other customers, right? So I have to keep in mind what demographics they live, what their tests are, the stuff they watch on internet, the kind of people they follow, what influencers will resonate the most with the services they're offering. Okay, this section is nothing but how. This section was what is like, what exactly are you trying to propose, how are you going to build it, and this third one is where are you going to distribute it. So just remember three things: WHW, what, where, what, how, and where. What are you proposing, how are you going to do it, and where are you going to distribute and market it. So this is the where thing. How to distribute, through what channels. You can distribute your product through social media, physical meets, through trade shows. There are many such platforms available. How to market. So what is the best place to market? Find out that there are various means to market your product. Okay, by the way, can somebody answer this? What is the best place to market your product or service? Sorry? Yeah, that's more deep answer I want. Yeah, right. But I have to work for that, right? Say on social media itself, where exactly to market? Because social media is huge. There are multiple pages and people whom I have to approach to. Sorry? Ads. Okay, but where exactly should I add? Which Facebook page? Arre, okay, I'll tell you. The best place to market is where your competition is marketing them. Okay, so if I have some product, if I build a product which is a better offering than my competitor's product, so first of all, the basic thing is you have to market your product where your competition is marketing it. Okay, that's the basic thing. Okay, so I told you to be smart, okay, in this whole process. Now, these are the steps I explained, okay. So this is the thing, letting them know and how to market a product or services. Can somebody tell me a smart approach in this entire life cycle? How to reduce my startup building cost or how to reduce my prototyping cost? Can somebody tell me? What will happen if I move this step, letting them know in this second thing, market validation? Say I want many paid customers for my product, right? So what will happen if I tell them that I will make this product after 2 months, but you have to pay me now, and you'll get an exclusive access to that product. Yes. Yes. And that's where smartness of Elon Musk lies. Okay. So there are many crowdfunding platforms like Indiegogo or Kickstarter. You can post your product, which is not made yet, but you can post a product, a video about your product, or any description of your product, and ask them to invest or say give you $1 or $100. This is nothing but a paid validation for your model. Yes. No, that is not risky. I'll tell you why. Say, okay, so tell me which is risky. I do my basic validation stuff, but I don't do these things which he said and I said. And then I build a prototype. I go to the market. I buy some advertising, Google ads, Facebook ads. I buy all those inventories and I distribute the stuff. And I go to this step, the feedback and maintenance. I start to maintain my product now. Now, what is risky? Doing all this stuff or checking my validity in this step itself. Won't that reduce this cost? Building a prototype cost, that will reduce, right? So that's what I wanted to convey. So this helps in reduction of costs if you take this kind of validation, the paid validations, in the first place itself, because it will give you the right idea whether your product is correct. Because many times in my previous startup also it happened. uh, many times you are convinced about your idea. You tell your parents about your idea or your friends. They don't want to hurt you, right? Your friends, your parents, they'll tell, oh, it's a good idea, you go on. Okay. So that's not a proper validation. You need a market validation. The people who don't give a damn about you. So if they are giving you a money, they are giving you their money, then that means your idea is valid. Okay, that's all. uh, Funding can come in these two stages. Why? If it's a very large scale startup, you need funding even to build a prototype or even to build a product. So funding can come here, or when you've already built a product and you started churning the money. So, but getting funding at this stage is more easier than this, because your model is not yet launched in the real world, but this point proves your cash flow. So getting funding here is a lot easier. Okay, so this is how it goes. You have some initial data. You apply some smart algorithm over there. You build a better product than the previous one. You build you build a product based on that one, and you get more users, right? When you get more users, you have their data, and your data set increases. Then you apply again some algorithms. Now. The thing is, the machine learning and deep learning algorithms, they work best when you have more and more data. Okay, so this cycle continues, and that's how your startup grows. Okay, so all these things, they're pretty complex, right? Are those things complex to remember? Because there were 9 to 10 points, right? But it's not that complex. Don't ever forget the basics. The basics are, you build something. What? Okay, you build something, you let people know about that you have made this product or service, and you try to sell them. That's the basic thing of the business. I'll tell you how to visualize the basics. This is a paragraph from my blog. You can read it. Did you guys study about control signals in computer architecture? All guys are from computer science, right? Did you guys study? Okay, so control unit, it passes the control signals. So it's a very deep concept, but if you try to mimic that concept with the canals and dams, then it's pretty easy. Say, take this example. How do we actually add 2 and 3 in a system? So you supply 2 and 3 to the ALU, right? Then there are tons of processes going on in the system. How will you manage exactly? So the answer is, you open the out wall of 2 registers, considering register as dams and buses as canals. Then take those 2 walls in ALU, add them and send them out. Now open the in wall of the third register and store the result there. So isn't that simple? It's nothing but buses and canals, buses as canals and register as dams. So water won't pass if you don't open the valve, right? So you just have to open the out wall of the register which is holding 2 and 3, and then open the inner valve which is holding, which is the resultant register. That's simple. So the thing is, you need to find a way to cutting all of this concept down to the common sense, because humans don't need to remember the common sense, right? So try to get every concept down to the common sense. Okay, then it's simple. Okay, so that's the basic flow. It's very simple. Make something, tell people and sell it. You make something for X amount, you sell it for Y amount, and Y minus X is the amount you get for your hard work. If you scale the product well, if you build a product, if you sell it to 1,000 people, you'll get 1,000 into Y minus X. If you scale it and distribute it to the millions of people, you'll get that much money. All of the big businesses, say Apple or Google or any other businesses, they scale pretty big, but they all worked on the same principle. Okay, the last slide. This is not my report. It's a report from a network called OMDR. So there are a lot of things to do in our society. Say, when I first started using e-commerce thing from Flipkart or Amazon, I don't remember now, but there was this button called checkout at the very last. But I didn't know what exactly checkout is, because checkout is not Indian term. They Checkout is a term which they also use in physical stores in US, because you buy something, you go to the counter, and the whole process is called checking out, and they applied the physical thing on the internet again. Okay, so our Indian people, they are not used to this stuff. The solutions for the internet or e-commerce or a lot of services on the internet are not customized for a lot of people in India, because we are all, and we all live in urban society. We are educated. We know the stuff, because then we can understand these things, but not the other set of 500 million people. So internet has served pretty good to the 500 million people we have, okay, but not the other set of billion. The half billion people are still unserved. That's a very big area, and you can start something in that area with the customized solutions. Okay, so they this report just concludes some of the points which are resisting them from going on the internet. All these people, they include low wage workers, the people who sell vegetables, or the construction workers. All those 500 million people are still not on the internet. You can tap that opportunity by providing them a customized solution. So you can note down these points if you want, or I'll share this report on my blog, or whenever I upload this video on YouTube. Uh, yeah, and that's it, I think. Sorry, NHB is next half billion, the next half billion Indian people. Okay, so yes, okay. One more thing, if you happen to start something in this area, if you happen to start something which serve these people, the next half billion, okay, rather I'll challenge you to start something in this area. If you build something, then come to me after a few years. I'll be here or outside in India. You come to me, I'll provide my channels. You can contact me through these channels. Come to me, I'll try to help you. I will help you, not try. I will help you. Okay. So these are my channels. You can connect to me here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tushar. So you made wonderful.